Hey guys, how you doing? So today we look at the research cited by Arnab Goswami on the debate on Times Now to criminalize marital rape. I've got to say, I've not done studies or surveys myself, but I wonder what the people were actually doing when they cited this study in newspaper articles, and if they even read the study at all. The stats have been repeated several times over, but you know what? When the conclusion fits a narrative, no one really gives a fuck. They don't take a second look. They just follow it. Anyway, getting to the study, the first red flag is that they asked men only as agents or perpetrators of an action and women as objects or victims of the action. The questions were not in any way neutral. And they also chose certain states to conduct the study. It was not done all over India. The states chosen were Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Odisha. Now, from the National Crime Records Bureau, Punjab contributed 1.61% of the total number of cases filed under violence against women, Haryana 2.94%, Uttar Pradesh 10.51%, Rajasthan 9.02%, Maharashtra 8.04%, Madhya Pradesh 7.13% and Odisha 4.58%. Now, these 7 states account for 43.83% of the total number of cases reported under violence against women. India is made up of 29 states and 7 union territories, and they have chosen 7 states that account for almost half of the crimes committed against women. Of course, these are cases reported, not confirmed crimes. Now, when you've chosen such states, when these states account for a high number of crimes reported, you will get a higher number of victims than normal. The percentages I mentioned earlier was from 2013. It's not that different in 2014 either. Next is the fact that they asked 9,205 men and 3,158 women. This is not that low a number, and I usually wouldn't complain because there are a lot of studies that use lesser numbers. But the problem I have is that they use this study to encompass the whole of India and use blanket statements like 1 in 3 men in the whole of India have raped their wives. You know what? Let's rejoice. I mean, 30% or 33% of married couples are rapists. Look at yourself. 1 in 3. Okay? 1 in 3 means if you're sitting next to 2 people who are from different families, one of your father is a rapist. That's what the stat shows, and that's what they use this stat for. You know what? I fucking call bullshit. Now, we turn our attention to the questions asked during the study. If a woman answered yes to any one of the questions in the questionnaire, she's said to have faced that particular form of violence, and if a man answered yes, he's said to have perpetrated that particular form of violence. Men were asked, have you ever? And women were asked, has a current or previous husband or partner ever, in their own context. Now, I'll put the link for the study in the description. You can take a look at it yourselves. So here are the questions asked for emotional violence. 1. Insulted a wife, partner, or deliberately made her feel bad about herself. Now, how many of you have been in a relationship? Or just think about a friendship. Did you not fight with each other and call each other names and insult each other? Every single couple fights. And during the fight, couples insult each other. First of all, it's not a one-way street. Secondly, this is not emotional violence. At least not every single case of it. Second, belittled or humiliated a wife, partner in front of other people. Third, did things to scare or intimidate a wife, partner on purpose, for example, by the way you looked at her by yelling and smashing things. 4, threatened to hurt a wife or partner. 5, hurt people your wife, partner cares about as way of hurting her or damage things of importance to her. Now, when you look at these questions, basically anything a man does out of a certain bit of anger is considered as emotional violence. I mean, looking at her to scare her. By yelling and smashing things, a question to anyone who's been in a relationship. When has this not happened? And who's more prone to throw things around? Men or women? The answer is women, in case you don't know. Statistically, because they are smaller and weaker in general, they make use of weapons. For example, pans, boiling water, knives, and plates. They throw these things around. Now let's move on to the questions under economic abuse. 1. Prohibited a partner from getting a job, going to work, trading, or earning money. 2. Took a wife partner's earnings against her will. 3. Threw a wife partner out of the house. Now, I don't care much, for people asking women not to work. If they want to work, let them fucking work. But here's the deal. If a woman works, her money should be for the family and not herself. Because when a man works, his money is for the family and not himself. So, when you put in a question that asks if the wife's earnings were taken, I'm sorry. That should have been taken. Okay? Questions under physical violence. 1. Slapped a wife partner or threw something at her that could hurt her. 2. Pushed or shoved a wife partner in anger. 3. Hit a wife partner with a fist or with something else that could hurt her. 4. Kicked, dragged, beaten, choked or burned a wife or partner. 5. Threatened to use or actually used a gun, knife or other weapon against a wife or partner. Again, they've mixed a question in with the genuine ones that will increase the number of victims. Threat. Okay, I'm not condoning a threat, but a threat is not physical violence. Questions under sexual violence. Forced wife or partner to have sex with you when she did not want to. Had sex with your wife or girlfriend when you knew she didn't want it, but you believed she should agree because she was your wife, partner or girlfriend. Forced your wife partner to watch pornography when she didn't want to. Forced wife partner to do something sexual that she did not want to. This one has an ambiguous question as well. Had sex with the wife when she did not want to. And you know what? If a woman that did not want to have sex one night and she agreed because the guy sweet talked her and convinced her, she could have possibly answered yes to this question, which would again increase the victims of sexual violence. And forced wife or partner to do something sexual that she did not want to, the fourth question. Now, when you try something new, you're always convincing your partners to give it a shot. Whether you bought a vibrator and you want to try it out, you're going to coerce her into it. You're going to tell her, it feels good, just give it a shot. Maybe she did not want to at that point of time. But she might have liked it when she tried it or after she tried it. But you know what? Even those women could have answered yes to this particular question. Now again, I repeat, they are only asked men questions as perpetrators and women as victims. If they asked the same questions of men as victims and women as perpetrators, I would have to say that the numbers would not have been that different. And every single section had a question that cannot be considered as violence under that particular heading, and what they achieve by doing this is an increase in the number of the so-called victims and the perpetrators of economic, emotional, physical or sexual abuse. Now remember, if they answered yes to any one of these questions, or any one of the questions under that particular heading, they were said to have perpetrated or experienced that particular form of violence. Any one question is enough, not all the questions under that particular heading. This study has been splashed across newspapers and is also used in debates such as the marital rape debate on NewsHour. Also, the questions do not take the context of the occurrence of the physical or emotional violence. Physical violence more often takes place when the couple are arguing and really going at each other. The reason I say context is important is because no one knows who initiated the argument or even the physical attacks. Women are also aggressors in physical violence. We did not know if the physical or emotional attacks perpetrated by men were retaliations or some sort of self-defense. We also do not know if women provoked men into it. The truth is, very few men come home and beat their wives just for the fucking hell of it. And a cross-cultural study on intimate partner violence, which included India, asked males and females the same questions. They were asked questions as perpetrators and victims. And guess what they found? In the case of a minor assault, 35.5% of males perpetrated such violence, and 31% of females did so as well. The numbers show that more men assaulted their partner, but it is not a one-way street as is presented in India. The difference between the two is 4.5%. Now, when you look at the numbers for severe assault, we find that 7.4% of men perpetrated severe assaults and 13.8% of women did so as well. More women carried out severe assaults than men. The difference here is 6.4%. This particular study was available online in the year 2007 and no one cared to look at it to see that women are also violent. Instead, feminist organizations funded studies that were biased. Here's a look at another study. This table shows the percentage of people who were perpetrators of assault in India, specifically the city of Pune. 33.3% of males admitted being perpetrators and 41.2% of females admitted to the same. The percentage of female perpetrators is greater. Now, let us look at severe assault perpetration. 12.5% of males and 25.8% females. That's more than twice the percentage of males. The study has also looked into injury perpetration by the two genders. Under the overall injury perpetration, the numbers are 13% for males and 22.4% for females. Again, we have a greater percentage of females. Under severe injury perpetration, 8.7% of males and 13.9% of females were the culprits. Out of the four tables, except for overall assault perpetration, the percentage of women has been higher than men. Now, going back to the ICRW study, or the study that we first talked about. Now, from the study's biased conclusion, 41% of men admitted perpetrating emotional violence and 35% of women experienced it. Now, this is obviously the highest of the lot because, well, the questions asked cited what happens in a normal, healthy relationship. Fights, quarrels, and arguments. Following emotional violence was physical violence, with 38% of women reporting experiencing it and 33% men reporting perpetrating such violence. In the case of economic violence, 12% of men perpetrators, 16% of women victims. 17% of women admitted experiencing sexual violence and 31% of men perpetrating it. And this was a source that Arnab Goswami stated in the marital debate. And he and others do so without having a cold, hard look at the study and how it was conducted. You know what? I'm surprised the number wasn't 100% because that's how rigged the questions were, especially with the questions of emotional violence. Now, this study was conducted by the International Center for Women and United Nations Population Funds. How can one think that a study conducted by women's organization on violence against women not be biased? To summarize, ambiguous questions, lack of context of the violence perpetrator, and gender-specific questioning have done a lot to exaggerate the numbers. This is the bane of feminist research because it starts with the assumption of male perpetration of violence, so any violence committed by a man is said to be instigated by him. The main explanatory perspective that has been applied to partner violence is entirely feminist. It seeks only to explain the aggressive behavior of men. This forms part of an approach to partner violence that involves a single construct, the historical legacy of patriarchy. We all know how well patriarchy theory holds up to criticism. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see more, you know what to do. Hit the damn subscribe button. Until next time, guys,